What's up, Orlando? This is Ken Pozek, and this is the Orlando Real Recap. We tried this out last week, and you guys seem to like it, so we're going to keep this party going. Today, we talk about real estate, theme parks, and living in Orlando. Specifically, how can you take advantage of what's going on with the theme park slowdown currently? Also, we're going to talk about a story out by Cape Canaveral, not too far from here, and what they're sending to space. It's kind of hard to believe and also amazing at the same time, so stay tuned. This episode of the Orlando Real Recap is brought to you, like every single one, by the Pozek Group real estate agents here in Central Florida. Check us out over on Google. We've got over 725 five-star reviews. We're here to help, whether you're looking to buy or sell whenever the time comes. Reach out, info@pozekgroup.com, or call the number in the description below. All right, let's get into the first story. Over the past week, I was made aware of this new service just down the 528 over at Cape Canaveral, and it blew my mind that this existed. And please keep in mind that I am not making fun of this at all. I think it's amazing. Celeste Memorial Services takes your remains of you or your loved ones in a cremated fashion, and it's either in whole or in part, and sends you up into space for a memorial service. Now, there's different packages, everything from send you up and it kind of comes back down in a blaze of glory, like a shooting star, or they can send you all the way to the moon or beyond. The packages range from $3,000 up to $13,000, and this has been happening for years. Back in 1992, the creator of Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry's remains were sent up with Columbia, and since then there's been over 1,200 different memorial services that have taken place. The creators of Celeste have said this is kind of like a massive celebration, that instead of it being like this really down sort of thing, that people come out and celebrate watching their loved ones get shot into space. Now, I think this is so incredible that this exists in 2023, and so those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think down below. The next story I wanted to talk about was voting season. Now, this came and went, and I don't talk about politics in regards to who you should vote for or what you should vote for. That's not my place. I'm just a YouTube guy and I sell real estate. But it was interesting to see some of the takeaways from this past voting season. Number one, Mayor Buddy Dyer was reelected for his sixth and what he said his final term as mayor of the city of Orlando. We had some city commissioners and some county things to vote on. And yet when I looked at the overall numbers, there was 167,000 eligible voters in the city of Orlando, and yet only 25,000 actually showed up. That's 15% or so that showed up to the ballot box and wanted to make their voice heard. And yet over on my Instagram and here on YouTube in the comment section, I just constantly see people wanting change, or they at least have an opinion as if they want change. And so it's just sort of an encouragement that next time around, if you think maybe my voice won't be heard, well, an extra 1,000 or 2,000 people is an extra 10% people voting. And that actually can have massive change and results one way or the other. There was some other stuff that was voted on that was pretty razor thin. Anyways, I just thought it interesting. Let me know in the comments below. Does this number seem high or low to you? Over the past week on the community tab, I asked a bunch of you guys to send in different questions that you had for me to answer on the show. And so today I'm going to pick one just kind of randomly, and it's by James Davison. He asks, should Orlando and Tampa become one mega metro region, similarly to how Miami and all of South Florida are all one? Call it Orlampa, perhaps. Now, this is actually something that a lot of people talk about because Orlando and Tampa are fairly close together. It's like an hour drive between the two, with Lakeland right in the middle. Fun fact, Lakeland was actually supposed to be like the thing back in the day before Orlando got Walt Disney World and really started taking off. Now, I do believe that with the expansion of sort of that Polk County area, that area in between Orlando and Tampa, that we will eventually turn into one big major metro area because of the close proximity and eventually Brightline and a lot of other things that make us more connective. Will it take 25 years or so? Probably. It's going to be exciting to see the impact that both cities have as we start to connect. Now, one of the many reasons why people move to Orlando or visit us is because of the theme parks. And so let's talk a little bit about what I'm seeing there over the past few months. Now, overall park attendance is down. You've got Epic Universe getting ready to come online in 2025. Some people are delaying their trips because they want to wait for that to open. But once it is full-fledged and open, it's going to be really interesting to see how people decide to spend their time. Over the past month, you look at the park prices and they continue to go up. Over at Disney, park prices went up 8% to where your now average one-day ticket costs $144. Now, the more that you buy, the cheaper it becomes. But even a 5-day park ticket went up 16% year over year. And over at Universal, the same thing happened. You have $119 as your base ticket, and then there's plenty of ways to make that more expensive with an Express Pass and all these other things that they offer. Now, both parks do offer different ways to save money, especially for Florida residents. Over at Universal, they've got a buy one, get two free day sort of thing going on right now. And Disney Disney is constantly offering different packages to stay on site. And so let's actually talk about that, because I think it's fascinating to see how prices have actually come down on the hotel stays. Over at Disney, I looked at the week before Christmas, and I looked at a value hotel, actually the All-Star Sports Resort, and I looked at what was the per night price. It's $179 per night for Florida residents and $232 for non-Florida residents. Now that's a big deal, because a year ago that was like almost $350 a night, kind of insane. Now the biggest savings to me, or opportunity for people visiting us, is over at Universal. You have a per night stay over at Endless Summer Dockside Inn. It's $71 a night, which seems great. It's a 2-bedroom suite. You get early access to the parks, which is obviously not including your theme park tickets, but for a clean place to rest your head close to the theme parks, it's really hard to beat at this time. And so let me know, are you guys thinking about visiting us for the holiday season? Or if you live here, are you planning a staycation? The last story today has to do with Toll Brothers, UCF, and student housing. Now, if that has nothing to do with you, student housing and UCF, that's okay. You're going to want to watch this because it made me want to go back to college. So Toll Brothers, which is one of the most luxury builders in Central Florida and the country, is going into student housing, which I found really fascinating, because not only are they going to build 204 units for 680 different beds, but they're going to amenitize this thing like crazy. There's going to be a content creation studio and cabanas and pools and private lockers for when Amazon gets delivered, and just make this a really fantastic place. I think this is great because I look at the UCF area. We have a lot of people that call us and say, hey, my kid's going to be going there. We want to buy a condo nearby that we can rent out for them. This happens all the time. But the more eyeballs that get put on UCF, I think the better. So let me know what you think. If you're going to UCF, are you going to spend a little extra money to get a building like this? This has been the Orlando Real Recap. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit that like button and hit the subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you guys on the next video.